Well, this is just one of those stories that at the outset, you know, it's going to be quite divisive. This is a proposal that probably won't be to everyone's palate. An NGO from the Netherlands, as you say, they're called the True Animal Protein Price Coalition. They are calling for an increase on taxes on red meat in particular across Europe. Why are they doing this? Well, they see the agricultural sector as being a major driver of CO2 emissions, and the science does back them on that. But the question then becomes about how you tackle those CO2 emissions from the sector. This particular group, they think the way to do that is to place taxes on meat dishes. They call it the polluter pays principle. So in other words, if you're a diner in a restaurant and you order a steak, well, that should come with a premium because of the damage that it's doing to the environment. Of course, farming and livestock is a major part of the European economy, and so it's a proposal that will inevitably be controversial, not just for diners, but also the sector. They're in Brussels today, though, discussing it with European lawmakers, trying to see if they can convince them to maybe bring it into law.
As we've just entered into February, lots of people will now be re-eating meat, having tried veganuary. Talk us through kind of the eating habits of the EU citizens. You know, are we all really that ravenous for red meat?
Well, the data shows that actually Western Europeans in particular eat a lot more red meat than the rest of the world. In fact, Spaniards and Austrians eat almost double the amount. And if you just take a step back and think about it for a minute, some of the most kind of famous national dishes across Europe have meat. Things like chorizo from Spain, steak frites we were discussing before in France, prosciutto from Italy, all of
the
these
Brits
things.
With their roast beef.
Exactly. Bratwurst in Germany. I mean, the list goes on. So whilst there has been a change in consumer behaviour in recent years towards trying to do things that help the environment, things like, say, taking the train instead of a plane on a trip, this one it's quite a strong proposal because you're essentially going against what can be hundreds of years of history in eating habits. So it's likely there could be some domestic pushback from EU nations if they are asked to introduce taxes on meats, because I suspect it won't be popular with large swathes of the population.
So it sounds like our behaviour hasn't changed that much at the supermarket, really. How likely is it, though, Trent, that these proposals will be implemented? Yeah,
well, I should stress it is only at a discussion point today at the European Parliament. This group is travelling there to meet with European lawmakers. But I said earlier they're from the Netherlands, and actually in the Netherlands, this proposal is a little bit further along the line. It's the Dutch government is preparing to put a proposal that might see what's called a fair meat price introduced across the country. They're looking at introducing that to Parliament in coming months. This group's hoping that if the experiment works well in the Netherlands, then they might be able to expand it out further in the European Union and convince other countries to do the same.